Well, tune in, turn on, and realize it's time for the ChoiceTV Radio show. Is it radio? Is it TV? Hey, it's both. With your host, John Marchese, award-winning executive producer and owner of ChoiceTV.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you so much. I am so excited today. We have a full house. We have Paul, my announcer, of course, John Marchese with Choice TV. I produce commercials. I produce commercials for small, medium, large corporations. I air it on the Choice TV show, which airs on Fox 11. I have a radio show. So if you have a business and you want promotion, Choice TV is the place to go. I am joined in studio by my good friend, Brent Haines.
Hey, good seeing you, John.
Thank you. Brent, he's in sports, he's in entertainment, and he is a big contributor to Choice TV. So thanks for coming in, Brent.
Hey, great to be here.
And I am truly excited because I have with me Ian Bagg. Ian,
Yay.
I am excited.
Hey.
He's been on Showtime, HBO. He was a finalist on Last Comic
Thanks for bringing that
Standing. Yes, and a finalist. Hey,
Otherwise known as a loser.
well, I mean that
Well,
right, Brent? That's pretty big.
Hey, it was a great audience, and you
I was
had
a great.
them going.
I kid about it being a loser, but I am. I was a loser, but I loved it. I loved every minute of it.
Oh, absolutely.
And
Yeah,
I
it was
want to
good time.
ask you about that. You were also on Late Night with Conan and The Tonight Show
And
with
The
Jay
Tonight
Leno.
Show.
That's not a loser. What would you say, Brent?
And plus, he's done a lot on satellite radio. I think he's done it all. He's seen it all.
Yeah, I've seen a couple things. I've been around the world a couple times, and I'm back again.
And I want to hear all about it. In
I've
fact,
flown out of Orange County. I've flown out of Long Beach. I've flown out of LAX. Sometimes Burbank. 'Cause I'm a crazy mo. Whoa.
he's appearing tonight and all weekend, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, as a headliner at the Improv in Irvine.
Irvine Improv all weekend. Saturday night I will be filming my new 1-hour special.
Oh my
Big,
gosh.
exciting
I want to
time.
hear. There's so much to talk about, Brent. In fact, we will be there tonight.
Absolutely.
I love it.
Ian, and I hope, Ian is, I've seen your videos. I've seen you on Last Comic Standing. Ian has a great, and this is truthful, you can work the crowd.
I get to know the crowd a little.
You know the crowd.
Yeah.
And I think we might be targets tonight, Brent. We got to be careful.
You guys might be in trouble.
Uh-oh, I'm
Getting
going to be
to know you
hiding in the
guys.
back.
Starsky and Hutch of Orange County.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
And early in your career, did you find that some club owners really tried to sway you away from that style, and you kind of persevered?
When I first started out, I just did my thing, and I would have sometimes club owners would be like, "Can you not talk to the crowd?" Because honestly, there's guys that think that they can talk to the crowd and they're not good at it. I've always been my thing. So I guess they got worried that I wasn't going to be good at it, and then I would be. But also, when I was opening for comics didn't enjoy following it because I'd get the crowds all nuts. So it's interesting. Comedy's a very, it's a fun, it's an amazing, but it's a very personal journey. So it's not going to be smooth or the exact same for everybody. So when I hear about comedy classes, I'm like, don't really take them, because it's all about you failing the way you fail, which will make you better and make you the person you are. So, yeah. Yeah.
How did you get in?
The comic you are, not the person you are.
It's
sorry.
called
Your
working
parents
the-
make you the person you are.
Working the crowd, right?
It is called getting to know people.
Getting to know people. And you developed that skill kind of by accident, right?
I started off, the first time I went on stage, I had written my jokes on my hand, and I was so nervous they sweated off, so I had to do something. So I started to talk to the people in the crowd, and I remember the conversation I had with them was about salmon, and I would do impressions with my hands of salmon. I remember being able to hook my finger somehow, and I could make a Chinook salmon, and they're like, "Oh, that's great!" But only in Canada could you get away with that. So,
right.
Yeah, very specific audience.
But there's definitely, like you said, there's an art to doing it, and there's a fine line between offending them and being funny. And I've seen you, Ian. It's great. It's so
thanks, man.
funny. It really is.
It's real. I don't want to offend people. Sometimes people are going to get offended no matter what. It doesn't matter if you say, "Hey, I like to tickle."
Can't say that.
But it's honestly not about putting down the audience. It's about you saying something to me and us just exploding it into something completely outrageous. That's what it is. I was influenced by Sam Kinison, Jonathan Winters, and Bill Cosby were my influences. So,
funny people.
Yeah. So the Cosby, I love the way he could put girls to sleep.
He had a
he'd draw a picture that I would listen to when I was a kid. I'd listen to my parents' albums and I could see everything that he talked about, and that's kind of what I expect. I kind of go for, but even though I'm not a storyteller, Sam Kinison, it was the irreverence. It was just like nothing was off base, and then Jonathan Winters, it was just the imagination of just going anywhere.
Oh, funny, Jonathan Winters, yes,
yeah,
classic comedians. And now you're from Vancouver, right?
I actually grew up north of Vancouver. I grew up 1,000 miles north of Vancouver, up near Alaska, in the panhandle of Alaska. I grew up in Terrace, British Columbia, and I'm sure if you look on a map, you can't find it. That's how small.
How many town? How many people?
How many people? 10,000, but it was in the middle of nowhere. So I'm talking 10,000. And then nobody, trees, bear, trees, bear, and then a gas station, then bear, trees.
Gosh.
Yeah. It was awesome. I loved it. I loved growing up there. I couldn't have grown up in a better place for what I do, even though it made it more difficult to get, because we had no show business. So show business was so foreign. I thought show business was like the Archie comics, that a producer would drive down the street in his limo and see me and go, "Hey kid, are you funny?" And I go, "Yes."
Yeah,
and then, boom,
you're a star.
That's why the way I thought it. I'd never seen a comedy club. We'd never had a comedian come to my town. I'd never seen. We'd get bands every so often, like big time Canadian bands like Doug and the Slugs.
Oh, Doug and the Slugs. Yes, that's big time.
That was big time for us back there. People go nuts. And
right.
Yeah. So it was interesting.
So how did you become a big comedian? How you are now? What's the journey from a little Canadian town?
I got on a plane one afternoon. I told my parents I'm going to become a comedian, and they're like, "Well, we thought you were going to college." And I said, "Well, I might make it to college," because I was flying. I went to Vancouver, and I had been working in a gold mine, and I'd saved up all this money, and I'd been working in a gold mine as a blaster's assistant.
Okay.
So I was learning explosives. So I was going to become an engineer for exploding houses. So in cities.
Demolition. Why'd you say demolition?
Okay, demolition. I wanted to learn how to do implosions with explosives.
Okay.
So that's it. But I was like, first I've got to try stand up.
Yes.
And I still hadn't seen stand up live. I still didn't know what it was. I didn't know how you did it. So it took me about a year after moving to Vancouver and not starting school.
And how old were you?
I was 21.
Okay.
Yeah, 21.
Right. Okay.
Because I started when I was 22, so yeah.
Okay.
22,
so you went to the big city.
So I went to the Big Smoke. And and I never really had lived in a Canadian city before, so I kind of went off the rails for a while, and it was just like, everything's here. Oh my God, stores are open on Sunday. This is insane.
Lots of people here.
I don't recognize anybody in this bar. Like, I don't know.
Right.
Yeah, so I grew up in the town where you knew everybody when you went to a bar, and then one guy would come in and nobody knew who he was, and we'd all stare at him. Who's that guy? Hope he's not here for a woman.
Now you have
I said woman.
Now you have a hockey background, so growing up,
I do have a hockey background.
Being around the guys, busting their chops, did that give you some confidence going into your routines?
I would say, to be honest with you, everybody I grew up with was funny, like absolutely, like really, really funny, and we would just chirp each other on these buses to go play other towns, and then chirping means you're just having fun with each other. We actually play this game called the da-na-na-na game, where you had to make up a story. There would be one guy would have to make up a story, and the rest of the team would go da-na-na-na. So it'd be like, I went to Orange County. Ron Jeremy was there.
Which is a true story. We just had Ron Jeremy, who was good friends with Sam Kinison.
Oh, really?
Yes. Ron was telling us that they were debating in the car about the existence of God, and at that moment, Sam rolled the car like 5-6 times. I mean, they went. So
does that mean God exists?
Ejected out the
Did
they got ejected.
Yes?
Yes, of course God exists. Yes.
All right.
And they got ejected out the window. What? I got to finish my story here. They got ejected out the window, and not one scratch. Not one scratch at that moment.
There's and I can guarantee you they were so drunk and high. That's why they got no scratches off them.
I don't. Yeah, maybe
that could be it.
They couldn't walk down the street afterwards because they couldn't walk a straight line, but they were able to stand up in the middle of a car rolling over. Hey, we're gonna be fine. I've been there. I remember being like 16 years old when I started smoking pot. Not that I smoke pot anymore. I do once in a while, but I don't drink and I don't smoke pot because it influences my show so much because I can't keep up with the crowd, and I want to keep up with the crowd, and I just feel that extraness just doesn't do my show any. But I remember being 16 years old.
Yes.
I was with Pat McPhee and Trent Franson, and we were just driving around smoking pot, and we stopped at the store, and I got out of the car, and somehow I got my hand on the car, and in between the doors, the front door and the back door, and Trent closed the door on my hand.
Ow.
And I remember I was so high, I was just like, my fingers are in the car, and then everybody looked at it, and they're like, and then they opened the door out, and my hand was completely bent, and I went in, and I asked the guy that was working the store, I said, do these look broken? And his face just dropped, and I'm like,
But did they say,
the next day,
right?
Nothing.
Are you kidding?
They were completely fine.
Really?
It's interesting.
And what do you attribute that to?
I think just being so done out that I was so relaxed that nothing really hurt me. You know what I mean? I'm not saying I could have taken anything on, but I think that the body can take more, and when you're really relaxed like that,
that's true.
And that's how they survive that, not by God.
Well, I don't know about that, but I do know about being relaxed.
This is a really weird conversation we're in right now.
No, my best friend, I was his best man, and we had I had a bachelor party for him at my parents' house. It got pretty out of control, and Kevin went up to the roof, and I went to go get him because he didn't want to be a part of the. It was just, I don't know. He was doing his thing. We fell off the roof together. We rolled, and we fell 10, 12 feet. Not one scratch.
Shortest house ever.
Not one. Maybe 15 feet. Not one scratch.
I gotta get a relaxed question back to comedy though. I'm gonna spin it back.
I have to bring it back though.
I know.
Hold on.
He went to the second floor and he was only 12 feet off the ground.
Well, maybe
how
it was
small
more.
were your parents?
Maybe it was more. No, like off the roof, like the roof outside.
Could have been
Anyway,
15
okay,
feet.
Brent, I'm going to shoot back.
I'm swinging it back. Speaking of relax, when you're thinking about a TV.
Speaking of not relaxed.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
This guy just panicked. We're losing all our sponsors.
When you think about TV crowds versus live at the Improv, what was it like for you? Sometimes when you think of TV and you have the little applause and you don't have that same interaction, do you, when it's a TV audience versus live?
When you do a TV, there's really a rigid thing. They don't like surprises at all.
Yes.
When I did Last Comic Standing on the last episode, every episode they made us write out what we were going to do. And then there was a clearance person, which I'm guessing was some sort of lawyer, that cleared things for products and then also cleared things for language and subject content.
So did Whole Foods make it on that list?
Actually, it did because Whole Foods doesn't advertise.
Yeah, okay.
So they didn't care. Like anything, sometimes they'd be like, "We have Downy products, so can you say bounce?"
Oh, right.
Like it was like that.
Yeah.
It was like that kind of weirdness. And but the one time on the last episode, I put down a joke about being sexual with a girl for the first time, and I don't know if they didn't get it or didn't understand what it was about or just didn't read it, but they cleared it.
Oh.
So I did this joke, and everybody's faces on the crew and the judges were like, where is he going with this? How is he getting away with this?
What do you remember the joke?
I don't know. How far can I go?
Yeah, go ahead.
I was about going down on a girl for the first time.
Oh.
Yeah, and how there's a little bit of a kick that nobody warns you about. And I remember Norm Macdonald and Keenan Ivory Wayans were like, fantastic, but they're like, he's on NBC. How is he doing this?
Yes.
Like, and they came up to me and they're like, we didn't clear that. And I'm like, I've got the paper right here that you guys cleared it. And they're like, what happened? They're like, so somebody obviously didn't understand. Should never have a virgin to clear
it.
sex
Well, you know
jokes.
what? If it's good enough for NBC, it's good enough for Choice TV. That's what I think.
I think too.
That's what I think. So okay, you're all right. So Paul is waving the sign. We are going to take a break right now.
Way to go,
and we
Paul.
come back, way to go,
rhythm,
Paul. When we come back, we'll be talking more with my guest.
Bring it down, Paul.
With my guest, Ian Bagg.
My guest.
And now back to this interesting conversation about sexual preferences. I was trying to follow that last one here.
Yeah, I mean, we're on a good roll. I have my
sexual preferences.
I have Brent Haines and our guest Ian Bagg.
Hey.
So last we left you, Ian. You're in the big city, Vancouver.
I'm in Vancouver.
What happened?
So I end up end up on a open mic night. But my friends helped me get on a contest, which is, I don't know what it was called, probably something Vancouver's Funniest Person or something like that.
Right.
And I do it, and the jokes are on the hand, they disappear. I'm nervous. I don't win, but I do well. And I think, oh, that's great. Well, I gave it a shot. Guess I'll talk about this when I'm old. That I once tried stand-up, and the owner of the club happened to just say to me, hey, come back next week and do open mic.
Nice.
Otherwise, I would have never... I had no idea you could just go do open mic. Because I'm from the bush still, you know what I mean? No clue that you just continue on things. I thought, still thinking, waiting for Archie to pick me up in the limousine. So I go back, and I end up just starting there, and it just kind of steamrolls out of control. It just... I end up just kind of doing 5 and 10 minutes here and learning how to do stand-up, and then they gave me like more work, and then boom, within a year I had traveled across to Toronto in that summer and was doing shows for completely horrible money. I think I was getting paid $37.50 a show, and there was like 5 shows a week, and living off of like, $240 a week or something like that. And I end up at the Montreal Comedy Festival. That's my thing. I just want to go to it. I just want to see it. And there's a couple comedy clubs there, and I end up on stage at the Comedy Works one night, which is a huge coup because it's Montreal Comedy Festival is going on, like these huge names. I remember Steve Harvey was on, and like huge names now were on, and the fact that they let a kid like me go on was just insane. So I go on, and somebody from the festival is actually at this like comedy club and sees me and says, I'm going to put you on this show. It's called Late Night. I can't remember, Late Night Laughs or something like and it's part of the festival.
Right.
And I get seen by this guy that owns a club in New York.
Wow.
And he says, hey, do you ever go to New York? I said, no. And he goes, well, if you ever go to New York, come see me. So I'm like, all right. This is the best ever. I got on stage, and meanwhile I'm dating this girl in Vancouver, and I call her up, and she's like, you got to come home. So I'm like, all right. So I have no money, so I hitchhike all the way across Canada to Vancouver, and I end up there, and she breaks up with me.
Oh God, that's why you had to go home, huh?
But I'm just like, yeah, exactly. I was like, you could have called me.
Yeah.
You could have told me this on the phone.
Yeah, exactly.
I didn't need to almost get murdered. So yeah, so I end up kind of bouncing around Vancouver until January that year. And this is July, and I just bounce around, and I get another gig in Montreal at this comedy club that put me on during the festival. Now they're going to pay me $900 to come out there. And I have to buy a plane ticket, but $900 Canadian, and I'm thrilled. And I'm like, I'm going to go to New York afterwards. I'm going to move to New York.
Nice.
I'm just going to move to New York. I'm just like, I have no idea why I thought I could just move to New York, but so I go do this club. Trade my money, and it's $900. I trade $900 Canadian dollars into $600 American dollars.
It just gets worse.
And then I buy a train ticket and take a train down to New York City. And I just get on the train, and they ask me at the border, what are you going to do? And I said, I'm a writer. I'm just going down to write about New York. And I go, okay. So they look at my books, and I go, okay, go ahead. So I'm like, oh. So I go. I have no place to stay. I've never been to New York before. I know one guy. He owns a comedy club.
Right.
So I get off the train, and as you pull into New York, I don't know if you've ever taken a train into New York, but it's
overwhelming.
It's overwhelming. It's just like it's just like that movie with the baseball bats and the Warriors. It's
the Warriors.
Yeah, you just look out and you're just like, I was always I could think was, well, guess I'm dead.
Yeah.
This is great. Well, I don't know. I think I wrote my parents' phone number on a piece of paper and put it in my sock, if I remember, so that they'd know who to call when they found the body, type of thing.
Oh my God! Wait,
So-
didn't you plan though to have a place to stay?
No,
Or are you
no.
just like,
I'm being honest to
Yeah.
God with you when I'm just like things will tell me what, like the
Right.
world will tell me whether I go home or whether
Okay.
I continue
Wow.
on.
Okay.
As I'm getting off the train, and this isn't a lie. People are like, this is a lie.
Right.
A piece of paper I step on is a flyer for a youth hostel,
Oh my gosh!
and it's $14 a night. So I'm like, I'll go there. I've got a passport. I can stay at a youth hostel. So I go to the youth hostel, and I end up living at this youth hostel. I phone this guy, and instead of call, I say phone because that's Canadian.
Right.
I phone this guy, but I've only got so much money, so he's not answering the phone. So I'm hanging up so I can not waste any of my quarters.
Right.
So and it finally picks up, and it's like, who keeps calling me? Like, why are you not leaving a message? You're supposed to leave your availables on the machine. And I'm like, I didn't know. I was like, well, this is Ian Bagg. I met you in Montreal. It's like, oh yeah. I'll come on down tonight and I'll put you on stage.
Oh, wow.
So I go down and I just end up having my ass handed to me I've never had my ass handed to me before.
It's New York.
It's New York, and I'm still on Canadian time, and Canadian comics it takes them 10 minutes to get to a punchline, and New York's like, get funny, but he sees something in me. He goes, come back tomorrow. So I go back tomorrow. It gets a little bit better. Just keeps getting a little bit better. And finally, I kind of it clicked in, and I was funny there. I was just suddenly I was funny. Do I think I was funny now? No. But you never think that your first painting was your best painting, right? So anyway, so I continue on, and people are at this comedy club are like, who is this guy? Because I'm bringing entourages from the youth hostel. So one night I'm showing up with nothing but Germans. The next night it's nothing but Japanese. And who is this dude?
Yeah, right.
One night Lucian is the name of the guy that ran this club and owned this club, and he goes, I'm gonna put you on just before the showcase for Conan O'Brien.
Wow.
I go, okay, so their talent scouts are coming down, and I'm gonna put you on just before it, so they see you. So I go on, and as they come in the room, I go on. They wait, and then I go on, and then the showcase is starting afterwards. And for whatever reason, they came up to me afterwards and with him, and they said, "We want to put you on the show."
Wow!
And I had to say, "I'm completely illegal. Sorry, I'm an undocumented immigrant." So they said, "We'll help you get your work papers, and we'll put you on the show." So we got an agent, and they helped me out. And 3 months, I had to go home for I think 2 months, and then 3 months later, I did the show and started my career in New York.
It wouldn't have been that way if that first guy had said, "No, don't come back."
It wouldn't. Honestly,
right?
It's also like that. You try things, and if it fails, it fails. I kind of got that from my mom. You go. You go do it, and if you blow it, you blow it. But at least you tried. But also at the same time, I'm so naive on everything I do. I'm just going to get on a train and go to New York. I don't know if I could do that today. I'm just going to get on a train and go to New York. Stay in a youth hostel.
Ignorance
in a
is
sleeping
bliss.
bag.
It really is.
Yeah, it's ignorance is bliss, but arrogance is horrible. It wasn't arrogance. It was just ignorance and just having this. I think I can do this. It was just exciting. It was very exciting.
So early in your career, when you're writing a set jokes on your hand and your sweat's off, does that force you to have to go into the improv?
Yeah, at that time it made me go to the improv. And it's funny because for years afterwards I used to write my jokes on my hand, but I would always end up saying something to the crowd, having some sort of quick conversation, and it just kind of built from there. Just because even though I tell you my influences, the guy that kind of influenced me at the beginning when I was doing Stephen Wright was huge when I started, and so I thought everybody had to be deadpan and no emotions and quick jokes. So that's kind of how I started, with a little bit of conversation with the crowd.
I see that.
And then continued on from there, and now it's just it's just kind of blown out of the water. I don't run around the stage like an idiot or anything, but it's
If you go to YouTube, Ian has a funny clip about it's the cheese puffs and
cheese nips,
and that's you working the crowd. It's just, you basically called a lady a prostitute, 35-year gig.
She called herself a prostitute. And I just went with the imagination. If she was a prostitute,
because she was cruising, and that's how she met her husband.
Oh, the conversation starts with I would ask people how they met when they're because I still do. I'm curious about love, and I'm curious about things. I still have that stupid kid that started doing stand-up where I wonder what's in New York. I'm still want to open a jar and see what's inside it all the time, right? So I'd asked these people how they met, and he said cruising, and I'm like, I'm just like, how you can't meet, in my head I'm like, well, you can't meet another person when they're driving in a car, so one of them's obviously standing on the street.
Yeah, right.
Who stands on the street? Hookers stand on the street. So I just kind of come up with this, is she a hooker? And they don't really say no, so that makes me think, okay, she could be a hooker, and we just have this whole conversation, and it turns into her being on the same John for 35 years.
Yeah, right.
And being chased around by a pimp that's, and
you did this with your hands. That was hysterical. You made like a mustache. And people think that those are planted people.
I've had people think that I plant people all the time, and I don't. I honestly don't like seeing people I know at the front of the room. I don't ever talk to people I know from stage because I kind of know their answers already. So I don't enjoy that conversation. I enjoy to go back to hockey. I enjoy the ice being not skated on yet, and me being the first one to skate on it. So
now, how did you take some of your stand-up and take it to the red carpet? Because I know I saw a couple funny clips where you get the unexpected, like with Brad Pitt, not really, tell that story. They asked me, TBS asked me if I wanted to do some red carpet on the SAG Awards one year, and I said, yeah, sure, let's try it. And it was funny because there was all these PR people there, and I was just throwing the microphone in the air and catching it, and they're all like, aren't you excited to be here? And I said, not really. And they're like, why are you not excited to be here? I'm like, who cares about actors? Is there going to be any hockey players here? If Wayne Gretzky's going to be here, I'm going to turn into a 3-year-old boy, and one of my balls is going to go inside of me. That's what's going to happen. But and then Brad Pitt shows up, and it's like, it's weird. It's like Entertainment Tonight, Extra, some stupid other show, and then Ian Bagg. And somehow, boom, 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 passes all those, and I'm the only one that interviews Brad Pitt. And beside me is Angelina Jolie's being interviewed by somebody, and he's more concerned about what's going on with Angelina Jolie than being interviewed by me. So I just started the conversation. I said, so what's your name, fella? And he spun his head, and he's just like, man, Brad Pitt, and you could tell he was having a bad day or whatever, and I didn't care. Like, I'm not having the greatest day ever. I'm having to do red carpet at the SAG Awards. I want to be getting an award, not interviewing you guys outside, not even getting in. And he's annoyed with me already.
Really?
And the week before, I'd been to Philadelphia for, I think, like my first time or something like that, and I'd never had a chocolate covered pretzel before, and I'd had a chocolate, and it blew my mind. I was just like, this is
that blows your mind. Not talking about it.
All I could think about was chocolate covered pretzels the whole time. I remember I brought it up with Alec Baldwin, and I said, have you ever had a chocolate covered pretzel? And he's like, yes, those are so great. Do you have any? And I said, no, I was just thinking about it. And he's like, how could you not have any and bring them up like that? Like, that was fun. With Brad Pitt was like, no. I'm like, and then I was like, have you even had any carbs in the last while? 'Cause you're a dick. You should be really happy about chocolate covered pretzels, not angry.
Well, when you have Angelina Jolie, you don't worry about chocolate covered pretzels, right?
I guess she's a chocolate covered pretzel, I guess. But maybe if they had chocolate covered pretzels, they would have a lot more fun together. Yeah. So I kind of, and then the lady that was in Poltergeist.
Jo Beth Williams?
Yeah, she hit me over the head with a champagne bottle. And it was obviously a fake champagne bottle. But and it was planned, but everybody thought it was real and that I had offended her. And they're like, who's that man over there? That man. And I'm like, thanks for being concerned about me being hit by a champagne bottle. Asses. Yeah. You weren't even concerned about that?
Being offended was worse.
Yeah, the fact that I offended her was worse than me being involved in almost murder.
Now, over the last couple of years, do you get some people coming back and making jokes about Last Comic Standing or some of the things you did on NBC? Or?
No, you know what? The last couple of years has been really nice. I've kind of built this crowd that comes out and sees me, and I've been lucky. People come out to see me for the first time that want to see me, and I have them end up coming back for the next show. They'll stay. Like when I was in San Jose at Valentine's Day, one of the shows was really light. It was only about 120 people, and it holds 350 this room. And I said, obviously, if this show is this slow, the next show is going to be slow as well. As many people on me, if you want to stay for the next show, thinking 5 or 6 people are going to stay. 75 stayed for the second show. So I had to do an all new
on the
fly hour set for the next. And I was like, oh, this will be fun. And the guys that were opening for me were like, you're a dick. Like, what are you doing? They're feverishly writing things down, and I'm just like, just have fun. Yeah.
No, I've read that a lady threw up on her husband and she didn't want to leave the show. Because that wasn't so good.
No, that wasn't during my show. It was at the comedy club that I started out at. I remember I can't remember who I was watching, and this lady just like turned and threw up all over this guy, and then just kind of wiped her face and pretended it didn't happen. And he just sat there, and the manager had to go up and go, "Excuse me, you're covered in vomit. You have to leave now." People are weird.
But that's not yours.
That's not me.
Oh, it's okay. Make it your own. Just lie.
But it doesn't matter. It wasn't because he was so funny. It was because she was so drunk. That's why she barfed on him. It was pretty. Yeah.
I have to ask you this.
I love you. Just take it.
Just take it.
Just take it. That's how you get beaten up.
When you're at a party, do you feel pressure to be funny? Like
I don't tell anybody what I do.
You don't tell anybody.
No. I hide. I hide what I do. I probably should be better at it. I usually say that I'm just in the entertainment business.
You're like Bruce Wayne, right? You just hide it.
I'm fighting crime.
Yeah, you're fighting crime.
Yeah, I want to know more about other people. I don't want them to know what I do. Like people bring it up and then it's a kind of a conversation. It's always the same thing. Like full time. Well, if you call hour a night a full time,
well, what do you tell people? What do you tell? What do you do? Let's pretend we're at a party. What do you do, Ian?
I am if I'm faking it?
No, yeah, we're at a cocktail party. What do you do?
I say I'm in the entertainment business.
Oh, but that I
so
tell
in my
people
head
that
I
too.
think dancer.
Yeah, right. No, but people. Okay,
but you
that's
say in
a
the
leading question.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, what do you do in entertainment?
Live.
Live.
Live
Okay.
entertainment.
It's
So now could I be a DJ? Like I'm concerned if I'm a DJ. So they'll walk off.
Oh, okay.
They'll walk off and have conversations with other people. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do you?
I usually, and if it gets too far, then I don't want to talk about it. I say I'm in management. I manage people.
Oh, and that's
and then they get bored.
Right. You cockblock yourself, right?
Like at a bank. Do you manage people at a bank? I said entertainment.
Is there certain people in Hollywood that you could just hang out with, humble, and you just love, certain circles that come to the clubs, but they try to be low key while they're watching sets?
Like who's been to shows?
Yeah.
Dick Van Dyke was at a show one time, and I thought that was pretty awesome.
Wow,
Like, it was
classic.
My buddy was he was in the room. He's like afterwards. It's like Dick Van Dyke was laughing and standing up and hitting his legs while you're on stage. I said, Dick Van Dyke? He's like, Dick Van Dyke.
Wow.
Yeah.
In his 80s.
Goddamn Chimney. Yeah. So, yeah. And then a couple weeks later, his car caught on fire on the 134 or something.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, it was...
But do you ever get that in those circles sometimes where they kind of bring people want to meet you later in the green room, whether it's on TV or some of these appearances? Or
not really.
Pretty low key.
Yeah, people are. I don't really. But people want to meet me. I like meeting the people that come to the shows. So I'll go outside and try to sell some swag, and I also I make sure everybody gets a postcard from my show every time, so that they have something and it says on it, I seen Ian Bagg and you didn't. So I want them, and some people don't know what to do with a postcard anymore because they're confused and they've only used in the internets. Right. And so I like to know people.
Yeah, and you've met 3 presidents, but people are more into Reagan, Carter, and W. Bush, but people are more interested in...
I met Reagan, I met Carter, and Obama. I got to go to the White House while Bush was in office.
Okay, but people are more interested in Britney Spears.
I have on this thing, I just say that, and I dated Britney Spears for 3 weeks or something like that, right? And people are like, so what was it like being with Britney? And I'm like, don't you want to know about President Carter? He walked around the plane and shook everybody's hand. That's what he did. That guy's out of his tree, and he used to lead us. Oh, God. Yeah, you guys should know more about that. We know Britney's... It was when Britney shaved her head and just left a car in the middle of a street. She left it on our street, and I'm like, well, I guess we
really?
I guess we dated.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, I thought, in fact, I was going to ask you that. Is that why she shaved her head, because of dating you?
She was off. She was off by a little bit. I asked her to shave something, and she shaved her head.
She shaved her head instead of. I ask.
I like the way you guys look at these.
I know. This is a business. Well, that's a good segue to my next question, because this is a business show. I have business, but you are in business. What would you say to business owners that are struggling? Particularly their first year. You've struggled, boy.
Oh, yeah.
What would you say?
Boy,
to them?
you've struggled.
Yeah, boy, you have struggled. But what would you say to them? What words of encouragement?
I think it's the same as what everybody says. If you're passionate about what you do, it's never going to be, even though if you believe in it, but it's something that you would use, something that you believe in, it'll grow. It's got to grow if you believe in it. And I don't think I tell when young comics talk to me, don't be afraid to work another job. Like, I know you have to put most of your time in, but yeah, you're supposed to be tired when you're creating something amazing. You're supposed to be worn out. You're supposed to be curious whether it's going to work, but kind of believe it in the back of your head, and never feel bad if you get discouraged. You got to get discouraged, So I think if you started something that you love, it'll work. It's just we get talked into starting things that we don't always love, and when you don't love it.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah,
I hear that.
great.
I used to do physical therapy. I didn't love it. I love doing directing, producing. I love that. And I love interviewing you and being here.
It's fun.
This is awesome.
You got to really, people, we got to quit going with the cheapest. You got to believe in, I will not sell a t-shirt that I won't wear. For afterwards, I'm like, if it doesn't feel comfortable, I don't feel good selling it to somebody.
Well, this has been awesome. Ian, where can people find out more information? You have a website, Twitter,
IanBagg.com, 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 and you can also follow me on Twitter, Instagram, if you want to see pictures of what I'm up to with my dogs and my wife and where I live and blah, blah, blah. I won't give you the address, but I'll show you things.
That's fantastic.
And Facebook, and of course, I hear people do Snapchat, but it annoys me. So you can follow me on Snapchat, but probably won't see anything ever.
and you're filming this weekend.
You're filming your
Filming this
comedy
weekend.
special. Tell me real briefly about that.
We're doing 1 hour special. I'm hoping I did the last one for Showtime, so we're hoping this one maybe goes back to Showtime. But I'm kind of curious about Netflix. I've noticed that people that have done Netflix lately have really gotten a great reach, and it can make you worldwide. People can catch it worldwide is what I enjoy about it. Showtime puts your stuff on Hulu afterwards, and it's only in America. And I love Showtime. I think it's got great stuff, but I'm kind of hoping to go Netflix, Amazon, something that's going to take me so I can go see my family in Australia, so I can go to Canada, so I can go to Europe. I want world domination.
Well, I don't blame you. I don't blame you. Yeah, that Netflix and that programming is incredible. Well, thank you so much,
What are
Ian.
you kidding, guys? Thank you for having me.
Oh, you're welcome.
Yeah, I appreciate it a lot. Thanks for reaching out and asking me to be on the show.
And it worked out. And listeners, go to YouTube and search Ian Bagg, IANBAGG. It is hysterical. It will give you a good laugh.
Don't have it loud if you're at work.
Yeah, right.
Make sure you put on the headset, otherwise your boss will talk to you.
Well, thank you for coming in, ladies and gentlemen. Ian Bagg.
Thank you, buddy.
Nice,
All right. And this is John Marchese with Choice TV signing off.
Hey, that's Choice TV Radio. Is it radio? Or is it TV? Hey, I think it's both. With your host, John Marchese, award-winning executive producer and owner of Choice TV.